I consider to be America's heroes.
Yeah.
I work very closely with the IBEW folks at our plant. I work very closely with the pipe fitters and all of the labor groups at our plant. And so I recognized that what was missing was that there was not a balance. There were people that were pro-community and anti-industry, and there were people in the industry who were focused on the profits of industry, but was not given a strong consideration to people in communities. And I realized that we all wanted the same thing, because people that work in the forest industry and people that work in the petrochemical industry take their kids hunting and fishing on weekends just like everybody else. So we all wanted the same thing. We just couldn't agree how to get there. So I decided to work toward building bridges, and that's what the Apollo Alliance is all about.
For those of you that aren't industry, you may not have seen that ceremony before, but that is a traditional flag-raising ceremony. I've never seen it done with that many premises or that high a pole, or in a Kumite. So I think it was well done. Thank you all.
Could you please provide the audience with a description of the role that you or your organization will play in linking education, economic, and workforce development in collaboration to meet the future workforce needs of the energy industry?
So we've been partnering a lot with our colleges and with our customers and those other utilities, our fellow utilities, to find ways that we can develop our workforce for the future. Ensure that we're not stealing from each other, that we're all collectively trying to develop this workforce and retain them here. Some of the challenges we faced recently is there's a heavy construction workload. Katrina, as we mentioned, has taken a lot of our linemen away, a lot of our linemen pool away from us. And we're finding it difficult to hire qualified linemen now into our workforce. Many, or some have left, in fact, to go to that lucrative jobs that are now in the California and the South. So we're looking forward to some future partnerships where we can assure that we have that workforce for the future.
The first goal from the State Board is to increase the alignment between community and technical colleges and the knowledge and skill gaps in the economy. Now, they didn't know we were going to have this conference. They didn't set us up with this statement. This is how important it is to them, to be able to look at our economy, look at the state of Washington, and figure out how we're going to align ourselves as a community college system with the workforce needs of the state. So that's a great incentive for us at the community colleges to get up and get to work.
We have a real skills gap shortage. With baby boomers retiring at a rapid rate in this state and this country, we just don't have the people to fill many of those needs right now.
We are really, in a very many ways, quite fortunate in this state. Besides having active involvement of both business and labor, we have a governor who fully recognizes the importance of economic development to the well-being of our state and to our region. And she also recognizes the clear tie between economic health and the health of communities and families. She is well aware of the close connection between economic development and workforce training and education.
And as our partners up here have said, that's the key to success, developing partnerships. And that's why everyone's here, is because we have partnerships all across the board. Labor has been phenomenal. Management has been phenomenal. Other community colleges have been supportive. It's very refreshing to break down all of those old traditional barriers and start working together on a common goal.
And I heard a definition there that I'd like to share with you today, and it was on collaboration. And the definition was an unnatural act that non-consenting adults do to each other. These are the results of collaboration, both management and labor. And they went on to define that definition in 3 phases. I was so impressed when they got to phase 2. I'm sorry I won't be able to share the 3rd one with you. But the first level of the collaboration is you get past the fear. You can come and participate, labor management, and neither one has to really worry that someone's going to put a knife in their back. Okay? The second phase of it was when the person on the other side of the table could go out and tell somebody else what it is that you do and get it right. And that means that it has to be a lot of communication. And that's represented here today.
More than ever, we need a way to standardize what knowledge, skills, and abilities are required to do these jobs. And we need to upgrade those standards as we move forward. They're not static. What was in place 30 years ago will not suffice for today's industries, and certainly not for the energy industry. Even though we may have outdated plants, the technologies inside of them and the expectations of workers are far greater than ever before. How do we manage that? In energy, I think you have some unique factors, not the least of which is you have essentially what is your skilled brain trust leaving you. And most of these folks, like many traditional industries, have it up here, and they don't write it down. But they don't write it down because we often have never asked them to write it down. We've never expected them to write it down. And what they need to write down now, compared to 10, 20 years ago, is much more rich and detailed and complicated than it ever has been before.
Sand, why? Because sand is really, really neat stuff. It's the second most common element in the Earth's crust, silicon is. It's the 6th most common element in the universe. Pretty obviously, we're not going to run out of this material. And you know, you can take that material and embed energy in it and get more energy out of it than you embedded into it. There's an old silicon refinery in Moses Lake, Washington that was going broke. The Norwegians recently bought it and committed to dumping $400 million into that plant to produce silicon for solar. The Norwegians are spending $400 million on solar in Washington in the next 3 years. All those solar modules have to be installed. This represents big jobs, folks. Solar represents more jobs per watt generated than any energy source